Hello, good morning, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be testing the battery capacity on this puppy. This is the 18-inch Ego 56 volt chainsaw. It comes standard with a 5.0 amp hour battery. I've fully charged it this morning. It's fresh off the toaster oven. I've also freshly oiled and cleaned it. I have also sharpened the chain to about as sharp as you can get. And I just want to give you an example of real-world battery time use with a continuous cut with the bar essentially totally buried. This saw is rated for 300 cuts through a 4x4 beam, and I would say that's pretty accurate, but we're going to do a little more intensive testing with the bar continually cutting on from the whole length. Not the whole length, it's going to be about from here to here. And it's going to be buried in a giant Doug fir tree that I've cut down. And we're just going to see with continuous use how much runtime we get. So enjoy, and let's get to it. All right, here we are. This is what we're going to be testing on. This is a Doug fir that I cut down about a week and a half ago. And I've already gotten several beams out of the end of it. You can see down there, there's the remains of two 4x10 by 14 foot beams. And I'm gonna make two more. All right, now as you can tell, I've already cut about five or 6 feet of this log. This bar is a little bit too short to go through the entire tree, so I have it completely buried in there. This is fresh Doug fir. Obviously your cutting times are going to be somewhat different depending on the type of wood that you have. What we're going to do is we're just going to dig it all the way in, and then we're going to run down here and see how far we can get. I feel like we might be able to get the entire rest of this side of the beam, but I'll hold my tongue and we'll see. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be stopping the chainsaw and letting it rest periodically. In previous tests, I've found that running it continuously will cause the battery to actually overheat, and then I have to wait 20 minutes for it to cool down. So besides from that being really inconvenient, it actually makes my test impossible to do in one setting because I have to wait a while for it to cool down. So yeah, we're just going to keep stopping it periodically, and then we'll tally the total time at the end. We have 3 out of 5 bars left after cutting 3 feet or so. We're still not broken through. The bar again is completely buried. Nothing poking out down here. Trying to periodically clean the sawdust out of the cut because I feel like I'm cutting twice. Like I'm cutting the wood and then I'm also cutting through the sawdust and kind of like mulching it. It's really fine stuff, and that to me tells me that the sawdust is actually being mulched by the blade instead of being ejected properly. So that's probably affecting our runtime, our cut speed a little bit. Almost there. Oh, getting there. This part of the job is tempting, I should say, because I'm like 1.5 feet away from the end and I really just want to get there and push it out. But if I do that, I'm likely to overheat the motor. The battery, sorry, I'm likely to overheat the battery. And I don't want to sit here and wait for 20 minutes for it to cool down. So I'm just going to be patient and wait for 30 seconds. Now again, while I'm letting this battery cool down, just want to say that this is way more than I think this saw was designed for. This is a light to medium duty saw, and I'm pushing it to its absolute limits. Like, this is the hardest test that it could ever do, and it's holding up really well, that's saying. But it's not designed for this type of continuous cutting, so that's why the battery does overheat. So just so you know that it's not a flaw in the manufacturing, it's just that I'm putting this saw into more work than it was designed for. So I have to work around the limitations of the saw in order to get decent results without damaging the equipment. All right, we made it. One bar left. If I let it rest, it'll probably go up to 2 bars. Whoa! Watch out, everybody. Well, we did not run out of battery on that cut, so we're going to have to move the boards and we're going to have to do another set of cuts. Pull it tight. We're good to go. That took forever. Thanks for waiting. Oh, and we have overheated, people. So, push it once, solid red light means overheating. That means that we still have some battery capacity, but we can't use it because the battery is too freaking hot. So we're just gonna wait a little bit and then we'll drain the rest of it. Maybe it'll help if I blow on it. No, it did not help. You know what I need is like a portable freezer. Like, just put this in the freezer when it overheats. That's what I need. Took a little power nap. Now we're back in action. Cooled off and ready to go again. Let's see how much farther we can get. Yep, that's about it. That feels pretty good. I could probably get a little bit more out of it, but you're actually not supposed to fully drain lithium batteries 100%. It can mess with the overall capacity. So, there we have it. We're gonna go back in, and during the editing phase, I will time exactly how many minutes of runtime that we actually used. But just as far as how far we can cut, again, this is a 14-foot beam, and the entire time this bar was completely buried. So the most difficult cut that it could possibly do. And let's see, I was about right here when I started, just about. And so that's about 14 feet of solid cutting with one battery pack. This is the 5.0 amp hour battery pack, remember, and they do make a 7.5, and they also make a 10 amp hour, which I can't seem to find anywhere online, but maybe you can buy it. And the typical small size is a 2.5 amp. I would not recommend running a 2.5 amp unless you just have really light duty stuff to do and you don't want to deal with the small amount of additional weight from a 5 amp. So that's it. You know what? Let's just see if we can squeeze one more cut out of it. Just for Schweitz and Guligels. Not really. Okay, good stuff. I'm pretty stoked with that. I'm definitely putting the saw through way more use than it was intentionally designed for. I'm also a somewhat early adopter of this technology. It's definitely not super mainstream yet. It's getting there. People are liking electric. All right, so if you want to buy one of these saws and you want to do some intense milling, this is what you're going to get. So for most other uses, it's going to be vastly sufficient for what you need to use it for. All right, everybody, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, and go out there and keep living your best life.